Today we are multiplying polynomials. You guys already know how to do a little bit of this. For example, you are multiplying polynomials when you do this. If I ask you to simplify that, what does that come out to be?
2x plus 10.
Yeah. 2x plus what?
2x plus 10.
Yeah, right? If you distribute that 2, you just get 2x plus 10. You just multiplied polynomials there. It just so happens that this thing is a constant, and then this thing in here was a binomial. So you really multiplied a monomial times a binomial. Look at you. Let's do one a little bit more interesting. So I want you to do x times xy minus 4. If you distributed that in, what's that going to come out? X to the second y minus 4x. Right? If you just distribute that x in there. So there's another monomial times a binomial. What if I had a monomial times a trinomial? You just multiply it all the way through. So say I had 2x and you wanted to multiply that into x squared minus 4x plus 1. Go ahead and write your answer. Write what you think that is. Did everybody write down an answer? Okay. Sarah, what's 2x times x squared?
2x cubed.
Yes, 2x to the third, right?
Woo.
Lily, what's 2x times negative 4x?
Negative 8x squared.
Yes. And everybody, 2x times 1 is? 2x. So there you go. So it doesn't matter. If I have a monomial times a 10-term polynomial, who cares? You just multiply it all the way down. Things get a little bit more interesting when you have a binomial times a binomial, for example. Oh my gosh. So a binomial times a binomial. What's a binomial again? Yeah, 2-term polynomial. So if I wanted to do x plus 2 times x minus 7.
Wouldn't it be like x squared plus 5x and then like minus 14 or something?
Yes. So here's how we do this. Basically, I need to, it's like you're doing double distributive property. I need to multiply this x by both of these things and this 2 by both of these things. Well, lucky for you, there's a handy dandy little word that we use to remember multiplying a binomial times a binomial. Yes, it's called FOIL if you haven't heard of it. Like aluminum foil, F-O-I-L. And it stands for first, I say outside, but you can say outer. Yeah, let's say outer. Inner and last. So this gives you a nice handy reminder of how to multiply these two together, and you won't miss anything. So first means I take the first term in each of the binomials. So in this case, it's x, and I multiply those two numbers together. So what's x times x?
X squared.
X squared. So that's my first. When I multiply those together, that's what I get. O stands for outer. So that means the outside two numbers. So here's the outside. So it's these two on the outer edges. It's the x and the negative 7. If you multiply x and negative 7 together, what comes out? Negative 7x, right? You're multiplying these two numbers on the outside. Negative 7x. Is everybody with me so far? And then I stands for inner, so that's when you multiply the two numbers on the inside. So positive 2 and x multiplied together get me?
2x.
Plus 2x. And then L for last means the last two terms in each binomial. So the 2 and the negative 7. Multiply those two together and what comes out? Negative 14. And then almost, oh gosh, I'd say most of the time, you are going to have these middle two terms that are like terms that you're going to combine. So, when I combine those two middle terms in there, my final answer becomes x squared, what's negative 7 plus 2? Negative 5x minus 14. There is my final answer. So when I multiply these two binomials, this is what comes out. FOIL only works for a binomial times a binomial. That's the only combination. But you're going to be doing so much foiling, I should call you Reynold. Yeah. Do you know in like England they don't call it aluminum foil, it's aluminium.
Oh my god.
Yeah, instead of aluminum. So weird.
I like that. We should do
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Okay, so you try this one. Multiply these two together for me. How about x minus 6 and x minus 3? Hold on to it. Does everybody have an answer? I'm going to call on you at random for each of my pieces here. So we're going to, again, do first, outer, inner, last. You don't have to write the word FOIL out, but if it helps you, go ahead. I don't care. All right, so when I multiply the two first terms together, what comes out? Allie?
X squared.
Yes, the two first terms are x and x. X times x is x squared. Oh, the two outer terms. When you multiply those together, Kaylee D, what do I get? Correct, the two outer terms are these, x and negative 3, so that'd be a negative 3x. The two inner terms multiplied together, Kristen would get me? Correct, negative 6 times x, negative 6x. And then the last terms, Laurel would get me?
positive 18.
You got it. The negative 6 times negative 3 is a positive 18. So now all I have to do is combine like terms if I have any, which you usually will, and it's usually those two middle ones. So when I combine them, my final answer reads what, Gianna?
X squared minus 9x plus
Perfect. How'd you do? You got it? Please make sure that if you need help with this, you gotta let me know, because we are going to foil, oh my gosh, from here until forever. We're gonna practice with it more, obviously, but If you have any hiccups at all, let me know. Let's try one that's a little bit more complicated. How about we do, how about 2x plus 3 and x minus 1. Try that one.
Wait, what does that say? I forgot my glasses.
2x plus 3 and x minus 1.
Saw that.
Okay, ready? So when you multiply the first together, Haley W, what'd you get? You did the outers. You want the first in each one. So you want 2x times x.
X squared.
You're super close. You're multiplying them all together. So 2x times x. 2x squared. There you go. 2x squared. And then the outers would be what, Liliana? There you go, negative 2x. The inners would be what? Sean's not here. Haley C, the inners? Correct. And then the last, Kaylee C, negative 3. Perfect. So my final answer would read, Danielle?
2x squared plus x times 3.
You got it. Right, because I have those two like terms in the middle, combine them, and it leaves me with a positive 1. So the only way that foiling gets harder is by having more variables, bigger numbers, but it all works the same way. You always do first, outer, inner, last. Combine any like terms if you have any. So let's try a hard one. Let's do negative 3x plus y times, I don't know, x squared minus 6. All right, let's see how we did here. So if I multiply the first together, Shay, what do you get there?
I got negative 3x cubed.
Correct. It's these two. So negative 3x times x squared. That's going to be negative 3x to the third. Okay? And then O, outers. If you multiply the two outer numbers together, Destiny, what do you get?
Negative 18x.
You're so close. Would it be positive?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a negative 3x and a negative 6. So we're going to have a positive 18x. Inners. Jaden.
Positive x squared.
Correct. Positive x squared y. And then the last. Emma.
Negative 6y.
Yes, perfect. Now, this is yep, sure. This one's interesting because I don't have, or wait, I shouldn't just tell you. Do I have any like terms to combine here? No, this time I don't. The two middle ones that are usually the ones that I combine, they're not like terms, so I can't do it. What I should do, however, is write this in standard form. Is it in standard form as it's written? No. What has to change? Yeah, those two middle ones have to switch if I want my final answer to be in standard form. So I should just quickly rewrite it. And there's my final answer in standard form. But I couldn't combine any because I didn't have like terms. Okay? So it does happen. It's just usually we can combine those middle two. All right, so that's FOIL. I know some of you learned this before, but some of you haven't. Is everybody okay, you think, with this? All right. Now, unfortunately, you don't always get to FOIL, because what happens if you want to do a binomial times a trinomial? What are you going to do? You can't use the FOIL acronym anymore.
Oh, Christy, have you seen the FOIL video? There's this guy who made this video and it's really funny. He like wears a FOIL hat, but he explains it really well.
If I have seen it, I've forgotten about it.
He was crazy, but like he explained it really well.
Let's say we wanted to do a binomial times a trinomial, such as x plus 2 times x squared plus 3x minus 6, for example. We don't have any cute little word here to help us. Basically, it's still the distributive property, you're just doing it twice. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this first term, whatever it is, and you're going to multiply it by all three of the terms that you have here. So I'm going to multiply this through. And then right in the same line, I'm then going to take the positive 2 and multiply it by all of these terms as well. So you just have to multiply both of them all the way through. And then again, you're going to combine any like terms after you've done that. So let's start off multiplying everybody by x. So what's x squared times x? Bless you. X times x squared would get me x cubed. X times 3x would be (3x squared). And x times negative 6? Negative 6x. So I multiplied x into all three of these. Now, right in the same line, I just keep going. I have to do positive 2 times all three of these. So 2 times x squared, positive 2x squared. 2 times 3x? Yes, 6x. Oh, very good, you guys. And 2 times negative 6? Negative 12. There is a little thing that you can do to check yourself here just to make sure you didn't skip over any. If I'm doing a binomial times a trinomial, that's 2 times 3. I should have 6 things before I start combining my terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That just helps me double check that I didn't mess any up. If I were doing a trinomial times a trinomial, how many should I have? 9. You're going to have 9 terms before you start combining them. So you can see sometimes you have a lot of terms and you don't want to miss any. So I just check real quick. If I'm supposed to have 6, I make sure I have 6. Now I combine like terms. So let's start with the highest exponent on the x, which is to the third. There's only one of them. Done. X squared, what am I going to get?
What are we doing?
5x squared, yep. Go down to x to the first. What do I get? They cancel out, right? Negative 6x plus 6x, it's gone. And then I just have the minus 12 at the end. So if you have a binomial times a trinomial, you just have to distribute 2 times. The first term times all of that, and the second term times all of that. And the same is true for if you have a trinomial times a trinomial. You have to do all 3 times all 3. So let's do one more like this. Try x minus 2, no, let's do x minus 5 times 2x squared minus 3x plus 10. Try that one for me. Oh, and Lily and Matt, you're not taking the MCAS. Did they tell you?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, good.
And they crossed off.
Okay. Did everybody get an answer? I'm going to go piece by piece. So, first thing I have to do is x times all 3 of these. Right? So, what's x times 2x squared, Matt?
2x to the third.
Yes, 2x to the third. Then I do x times negative 3x. What is that? Lily?
Negative 3x squared.
Yep. Then I do x times 10. What is that, Taylor? 10x. Now, right in the same line, I just keep going. I have to do negative 5 times all these. So negative 5 times 2x squared, Elise, would be what?
Negative 10x squared.
Perfect. And then negative 5 times negative 3x, Bridget, would be
What?
multiplying these two together, negative 5 and negative 3x.
Positive 15x.
Mm-hmm. And then negative 5 times 10, Sarah would, oh, she's still in the bathroom, would be what, everybody? Negative 50. How many terms should I have before I start combining them? I should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do. Now, as I combine my terms, who knows how many I'm going to have. But I should have 6 before I start. Do I have any like terms?
You do.
I do. So, I don't have any with the x to the third. But x squareds are going to become negative 13x squared. Go down to x to the first, that would be 25x. And then minus 50 on the end. Okay, so double check that you got it. Any problems with this? You just gotta go piece by piece. All right.